Caitlyn Clark's transition from the US to Europe is creating quite a buzz in the basketball world. Her choice to sign a lifetime contract with a European club has fans curious about what motivated such a bold decision, especially after her impressive rookie season. From deep three-pointers to record-breaking assists, Caitlyn quickly emerged as a star in the WNBA. However, her journey in the league wasn't as smooth as it seemed. In interviews, Clark opened up about the challenges she faced both on and off the court. One of the toughest parts of her life as a professional athlete was the pressure to always be on. She mentioned that there are days when she simply doesn't want to engage with anyone. When someone comes up to you, that's their 10-second interaction with you, so you smile and try to be kind. But sometimes you just want to be normal, she shared. Caitlyn's rookie season was physically demanding. She faced aggressive defense and often felt like she was targeted by opponents pushing the limits of fair play. Hard fouls and elbows became all too common, yet she kept her composure, accumulating assists and points while setting records despite the relentless pressure. Additionally, as a young white player in a predominantly black league, Clark encountered subtle but uncomfortable moments from both fans and fellow players. These factors weighed heavily on her and played a role in her decision to seek new opportunities overseas. In Europe, she saw not only a fresh start, but also a chance for personal and professional growth. Playing in a different league would provide new challenges without the constant scrutiny she experienced in the US media. While some critics argue that Clark's move might be premature, others view it as a calculated decision to prioritize her passion for the game without the distractions she faced at home. As Caitlyn embarks on this new chapter, she leaves behind a complex legacy in the WNBA. Her talent and determination are undeniable. What are your thoughts on this? Share them in the comments below. Caitlyn Clark presented in Europe after record-breaking WNBA season.
From the sounds of this interview, it seems like she's probably going to make more money overseas in EuroLeague than she did during this WNBA season. The commissioner told her that she could make $700,000 playing in the WNBA.
The EuroLeague just made it official. Caitlyn Clark is heading overseas, and now the WNBA is buzzing over the contract details. It's clear that while Clark is about to make waves in Europe, Cathy Engelbert and the WNBA execs are probably sweating it out. Without Clark, they're likely heading back to that familiar spot of irrelevance they were stuck in before she came along and gave people a reason to tune in. Let's be honest, most are only watching because of Caitlyn Clark, and once she's gone, it's hard to see anyone sticking around for those average teams.
Now, I feel like there could be a team overseas who would love to snatch Caitlyn Clark away from us and give her a crazy offer. I mean, Ice Cube was about to give her $5 million to play in less than 10 games in the Big Three. So the money is there, and if these owners are smart with it, I could definitely see more WNBA players going overseas.
The WNBA pretty much shot themselves in the foot with a series of bad decisions and some race-baiting drama that cost them their star player. They lost their golden opportunity. But let's not dwell on their mistakes. Caitlyn Clark's new adventure is where the real excitement lies now.
Going overseas and possibly not returning.
I totally understand that some of you hardcore Caitlyn Clark fans in America might be feeling a little down about her moving to Europe. But let's face it, you want her to be happy, right? That's why you're staying quiet about it. Deep down, as long as Clark is doing well, you're okay with it. And don't worry, Clark cares about you just as much. In fact, I have a little surprise from her that's going to make you really happy. So stick around for that. For now, let's dive into what's really happening with this EuroLeague deal.
Unfair what the players are paid.
So, the big boss of EuroLeague women has finally put all the speculation to rest. Caitlyn Clark is officially getting ready to head to Europe. And no, this isn't just a temporary gig while the WNBA takes a short break. This is a major move. We're talking about EuroLeague Women, which is technically the top competition for women's basketball in Europe. Yet somehow, it still doesn't get the recognition it deserves. It's like this hidden gem in the basketball world, and people are still overlooking it.
If you look at his rookie salary, which was around $55 million for 4 years, and then you look at Caitlyn Clark's $300 and I think it was $38,000 salary that she signed for 4 years, that is about the same amount more. It's around 162 times more that Victor made.
For those who may not be aware, EuroLeague Women is managed by FIBA Europe, and believe me, it's where some of the most intense basketball takes place. This isn't just a casual summer league. The EuroLeague runs from October to April. That's ideal for Clark to keep her basketball skills sharp throughout the year. She's really positioning herself to excel on both sides of the Atlantic. It's like she's playing chess while everyone else is still figuring out checkers.
They always sold out. Unbelievable. So Atlanta would normally have 3,000, 4,000 people. Now they have 17,000 people, and they sold 1,000 standing room only tickets. So when we walked into the arena, people were on that third balcony looking down at the tops of our players' heads to watch. I mean, it's really hard to take in.
And here's something interesting. EuroLeague Women has been around since 1958. That's right, longer than most of us have been alive. It's like the original league for women's basketball, even getting a rebranding in the 90s. Yet, for some reason, it hasn't achieved the same commercial success as the WNBA. But don't be fooled. This league is serious business. It has stood the test of time for a reason and is home to some of the best players in the world. Caitlyn Clark's reaction to Sabrina Ionescu's game-winning shot in the WNBA Finals was anything but chill. Sabrina's three-pointer gave the Liberty a huge 80-77 win, and while the world was hyped, Caitlyn was visibly frustrated. Her season ended way earlier, and seeing her biggest rival take over in the spotlight hit different. Caitlyn's always been that player everyone watches, but this time, it's Sabrina stealing the show, and you could sense that jealousy. The rivalry between these two has been bubbling under the surface for a while, but this game just cranked up the tension. Caitlyn came into the league with the hype, the fan base, and the expectation to dominate. Sabrina, however, has been quietly making her case, and now she's got everyone's attention. For Caitlyn, sitting on the sidelines while Sabrina hits clutch shots and leads her team is a tough pill to swallow. Post-game, Caitlyn didn't exactly hide how she felt. In interviews, she brushed off Sabrina's performance, calling the game winner just one shot, which only made it clear how much that moment bothered her. The jealousy was right there for everyone to see. Caitlyn's used to being the star, and seeing Sabrina take her spot as the WNBA's current queen? Yeah, that's not sitting well at all. This isn't just about Sabrina's one play though. The rivalry between these two runs deep, going back to their college days when both were dominating the game. Now, as pros, it's become a battle for the top spot. Caitlyn had the spotlight coming into the league, but Sabrina is stealing the shine when it counts. That game winner wasn't just a clutch moment, it was a power move, showing that Sabrina can take over when it matters most. Caitlyn's frustration is understandable. She's a competitor to her core, and seeing her biggest rival have her moment while she watches from the sidelines, that's fuel for the fire. But you can tell she's struggling with the fact that right now, the spotlight is firmly on Sabrina. That frustration and envy are driving Caitlyn, and the tension between them is only getting thicker. Sabrina, on the other hand, is living for these moments. Her ability to deliver under pressure is what's setting her apart right now. Even though she struggled earlier in the game, finishing with just 13 points, she hit the shot that mattered most. And that's the kind of thing that elevates a player from good to legendary. While Caitlyn watches, Sabrina's out there writing her own story, and you know that's eating Caitlyn alive. Next season, this rivalry is going to reach another level. Caitlyn's not going to let Sabrina keep this momentum without a fight. You can bet she's using all this jealousy and frustration as motivation to come back stronger. The next time they meet on the court, it's going to be electric. The tension is there, the stakes are higher, and Caitlyn's got something to prove. But right now, this is Sabrina's moment. She's earned the spotlight with that game winner. And for now, she's the one everyone's talking about. Caitlyn, on the other hand, is left stewing in the envy, knowing she'll have to wait for her chance to take back the crown. This rivalry is only getting started, and the next chapter is going to be must-watch basketball. The battle for the WNBA's top player? It's just heat.
Caitlyn Clark, almost unanimous, -1. Angel Reyes received one first-place vote for Rookie of the Year.
It was a stupid decision because it compromises what your ultimate goal is.
A WNBA legend has been caught red-handed for plotting against Caitlyn Clark in the Rookie of the Year race. Until now, no one knew which veteran player had gone out of her way to bribe a journalist to vote against Clark. But now, she's been exposed with solid evidence. You might be feeling disappointed, especially if you've been cheering for her all season, believing she was a true icon. In reality, she's been harboring jealousy all along.
So we've got somebody out there who is casting votes for Angel Reyes. I say somebody. I mean, I suppose it could have been one person who voted for Angel Reyes for Rookie of the Year and another person who voted for Angel for MVP.
Why did this happen? Because Clark captured all the attention in just one season, something that took this legend years to achieve. Need a clue? Well, on the same day Caitlyn Clark secured the Rookie of the Year award, this so-called legend snagged the biggest WNBA title of the year. Got someone in mind? If you think you figured it out, brace yourself. This story runs much deeper than just a single bad vote.
That somebody is trolling Angel Reyes because these are sports people, supposedly. These are members of the media. These are people who write about sports, who broadcast about sports, who...
And believe me, up until now, you've only heard the basic stats. For instance, Caitlyn Clark averaged an incredible 19.2 points per game, dished out 8.4 assists as if she were handing out candy, and grabbed 5.7 rebounds just to top it off. Sure, it all sounds impressive, but that's just scratching the surface. What's even more astonishing is that despite Clark dominating nearly every rookie statistic you can think of, she didn't receive a unanimous Rookie of the Year vote.
We were making the point, do you want to promote the league or not? And people like Andrea and others were resistant to that playing a role in somebody making the roster.
Nope, instead of every single vote going to the clear choice, only just one solitary vote went to Chicago Sky rookie Angel Reyes. This wasn't just a harmless fluke. It was a rogue move that sent shockwaves across the league, leaving fans shaking their heads and analysts scrambling to figure it out. Let's be honest, if any rookie deserved every vote, it was Caitlyn Clark. So why didn't she get it? What's the story behind that one odd vote?
I could actually argue that it hurts the game more if they had given her a roster spot over someone more deserving.
When the dust settled, Caitlyn Clark secured 66 out of 67 votes for the Rookie of the Year award. These votes came from a mix of 43 national sports writers and 24 local journalists across various WNBA markets. That's a lot of consensus among a wide range of people. So how did one stray vote slip in? This wasn't just someone trying to be a rebel or offering a different perspective. That lone vote felt like a sucker punch aimed directly at Caitlyn Clark's perfect season, a calculated move to ensure her record wouldn't be flawless. And that's when things start to get interesting. This situation wasn't merely about Angel Reyes receiving an unexpected shout-out. It was about someone attempting to sabotage Caitlyn's perfect Rookie of the Year sweep. But who could it be? Definitely not Sheryl Swoopes, as she doesn't even have the authority to vote in this competition. So let's discard that theory. When it was revealed that the rogue vote came from journalist Cameron Duncan, everyone began asking the same question: why Reyes? Sure, Reyes had decent stats, but she wasn't even in the same league as Clark's record-breaking season. So why did Duncan choose to cast his vote for her? Word on the street is that Duncan wasn't acting alone. Rumor has it that WNBA superstar Aja Wilson had something to do with this. That's right, The same A'ja Wilson who has been dominating the league and racking up trophies. But why would a star like Wilson get involved in something as petty as one Rookie of the Year vote? Here's where things get wild. In 2024, A'ja Wilson became the first player since Cynthia Cooper in 1997 to win the MVP award unanimously. She received all 67 votes, every single one. This was a monumental achievement, making her the only player in modern WNBA history to accomplish a unanimous MVP win.
You know, the WNBA continues to kill the golden goose. Now, I must clarify something. A lot of you are hitting me up with, why hasn't the WNBA talked about their Rookie of the Year award since Caitlyn Clark, it's been released, is the Rookie of the Year? Well, they haven't announced any awards.
But then Caitlyn Clark entered the scene, rising through the ranks and threatening to overshadow Wilson's moment of glory. Suddenly, Wilson wasn't going to let a rookie waltz in and take away the one thing that set her apart, a perfect record. As Clark began accumulating Rookie of the Year votes, Wilson allegedly intervened, intent on ensuring that Caitlyn wouldn't achieve something she herself never did, unanimous Rookie of the Year honors. This is where the situation shifts from petty to full-blown. In a surprising move, ESPN is back in the news, this time for parting ways with one of its well-known personalities, Duncan. So, what happened? It all stems from Duncan's ongoing criticism of Caitlyn Clark, a rising star who's been making waves in the WNBA. Instead of celebrating Clark's impressive achievements, Duncan took a different route, one that ultimately cost her her job at ESPN.
Breanna Stewart's never going to win another championship, or, Nafisa Collier's better than Maya Moore. Like, instead of those kinds of hot takes, the hot takes solely and explicitly surround all of these black women versus Caitlyn Clark.
Amani Jones and Duncan have teamed up. They're coming at the 22-year-old white straight girl, Caitlyn Clark. Because, see, here's the deal. Because Caitlyn Clark can throw a ball into a basket deeper and better than anybody in the history of women's basketball, because Caitlyn Clark plays with a flair.
Before getting into the specifics, let's first break down how Duncan's actions ultimately led to her being let go from ESPN. It's no surprise that she faced backlash. Throwing out accusations without solid proof never sits well with the audience. Viewers quickly picked up on the bias, and it was only a matter of time before ESPN had to sever ties. Today, we're diving deep into the controversy, exploring why ESPN made such a bold decision and how Duncan's criticisms of Caitlyn Clark shifted into what many are calling a full-blown witch hunt. But there's more to this story than what's on the surface. So let's dig into all the details.
She has never been around these type of women. She's never been around, black women or women from different parts of the country. Like, she's sort of existed in this bubble.
Now, seriously, how arrogant is this? I mean, I hear all the time, don't judge me. Don't judge me by the color of the skin. Don't judge me. Really? Okay. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're sitting there and judging me. You're judging a woman you have no idea. None. Zero zip.
He points out the contradictions. While constructive criticism is one thing, Duncan's approach veered into personal attacks. It's a hard truth, but often that's the way it is. Duncan's comments hit a nerve, but not in the way she probably hoped. Instead of gaining support, she was met with immediate backlash. Fans, analysts, and even fellow commentators called out the lack of evidence behind her claims. Many questioned why she focused on Clark's so-called privilege instead of her undeniable skills on the court. Let's take a closer look at Dan Dokich's take on Duncan's actions and the jealousy he sensed among ESPN's commentators.
Everybody that I know still know what ESPN tells me, it's so ridiculous, these women. It's so ridiculous. There's a green room right next to where the makeup is. It's loud, it's stupid, it's asinine, it's absurd. And that's Duncan and her little cast of cronies. And all the little girls at ESPN, look, all they are is trying to make themselves, well, not better, more popular. And they don't care what they do. Duncan has lived in that bubble forever. Duncan is full of shit here.
His comments hit a nerve, But they echoed what a lot of viewers were already thinking. Criticism is fine, but when it feels driven by envy, it quickly loses its weight. Caitlyn Clark's entry into the WNBA has been nothing short of groundbreaking. Her stats speak for themselves, leading the league in points per game and bringing a fresh level of excitement to women's basketball. Viewership has jumped nearly 40% since her debut, with fans across the nation tuning in to see her in action. Yet, despite all this success, Duncan chose to focus on downplaying Clark's achievements. Let's revisit a moment many feel crossed the line in Duncan's critiques.
The second that you show love to anybody not named Caitlyn Clark, you are part of, some constituency that's trying to keep her contributions at a minimum, and you're racist, and we get a lot of that. It's no wonder that the W coverage is all Black women, because you're all in it together to try to keep her down. It's just, you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
It was a clear attempt to change the narrative, but viewers weren't buying it. When your arguments are fueled more by envy than actual evidence, it's a hard sell. The truth is, Caitlyn Clark's story isn't one of privilege. She's competed against athletes from all walks of life, facing obstacles both on and off the court. Many saw Duncan's take as an attempt to downplay Clark's achievements simply because there wasn't anything wrong with her game. While Duncan kept up her criticism, Clark was making headlines for all the right reasons. Let's take a look at how she dominated on the court, proving her critics wrong.
Caitlyn Clark has literally carried the sport on her back. She talks that yang. Resonates with Caitlyn Clark. It isn't her being white. It isn't her being straight. Her game resonates with people in basketball and across the country because she's got that edge. I heard her drop 3 F-bombs in one game sitting right there courtside. Her teammates had to hold her back. She's yelling at the coach. That's what Magic, Bird, Isaiah, Jordan, you name it, that's what they do. Clark resonates. Nobody turning the set on and saying, I gotta watch who?
It's no wonder fans are drawn to Clark. She brings a new energy to the game that's been missing for quite some time. Analyst Dan Dockich didn't mince words when addressing the situation, calling out the obvious double standards. He suggested that Duncan's criticisms were fueled by something deeper, possibly resentment toward Clark's rapid rise to fame, rather than any valid critique of her performance. Angel Reyes eventually found herself in serious trouble, facing a lawsuit from the Chicago Sky for using steroids. It seems the team had more up their sleeve than just taking jabs at Caitlyn Clark. They're dealing with bigger issues now. But really, Angel, steroids? It's like if there's a questionable move to be made, she's all in. Apparently, just playing the game the right way hasn't been cutting it for her.
The addiction is real. The addiction to attention is real.
Now, she's turning to drugs, because apparently playing real basketball in the WNBA is just too tough, especially when you're afraid of the competition. Let's be honest, this all boils down to her jealousy of rookie sensation Caitlyn Clark. Reyes just couldn't handle being overshadowed, so naturally, steroids seemed like the solution to her. But this time, she's not getting off so easily. Angel Reyes, the self-proclaimed queen of the WNBA, has been caught up in drama from the start. And now, with this steroid scandal, it's turned into a full-blown soap opera. The Chicago Sky decided to skip the usual warnings and went straight to filing a lawsuit. Rumor has it, they've officially accused Reyes of cheating her way to the top.
She got terminated today from the Chicago Sky.
This kind of move is completely unheard of in the WNBA. No team has ever been this bold, this over the top. We're talking about a full-blown legal smackdown, accusing Angel of juicing her way through the season, especially when things got intense during key matchups. And if you think this is some wild conspiracy theory, think again. The Chicago Sky's lawsuit reads like a sports drama miniseries. They're saying Reyes cheated, and because of it, they missed the playoffs. They're not holding back. They're flat out claiming she used her enhanced abilities to sabotage their shot at playoff glory.
You're not coming in and dominating our game.
Here's where things get interesting. Rumor has it that Reyes, realizing she wasn't going to dominate the WNBA like she did in college, decided to take a shortcut, and allegedly, that shortcut was steroids. The timing? A bit too convenient, The allegations suggest Reyes turned to steroids right when it became clear that pure talent wasn't enough to keep her on top. And who was the constant thorn in her side, outshining her at every opportunity? None other than Caitlyn Clark, the Iowa star who was stealing the spotlight without a trace of controversy.
I think Angel Reyes is jealous of Caitlyn Clark. She thinks she's, the reason why this is all happening here.
While Reyes was grappling with inconsistency and facing criticism, Clark was out there effortlessly breaking records. Clark didn't just set the WNBA rookie scoring record in 2024. She obliterated it, finishing the season with 761 points. No drama, no scandals, just solid hard work and talent. Every time Clark lit up the scoreboard, Reyes' struggles became even more apparent. Social media had a field day, tearing Reyes apart with constant comparisons between her and Clark. Let's just say those comparisons didn't do Reyes any favors, as it became clear to everyone that she was more talk than game.
She just likes to call out haters and clap back at haters and say different things.
Let's be honest, this scandal doesn't just affect Angel Reyes, it casts a significant shadow over the entire WNBA. The league has been working hard to expand its fan base and prove it can compete on a larger scale. However, with this steroid revelation, the league's reputation is now at stake. If the lawsuit goes in the Sky's favor, the WNBA will face a serious need for damage control to maintain the trust of both fans and sponsors.
You're not coming in and dominating our game.
But why did she feel the need to resort to this? The WNBA isn't college basketball. In the pros, the competition is much tougher, and the athletes are seasoned professionals. Reyes quickly discovered that it's a whole different ballgame. While her rookie season wasn't bad by typical standards, she wasn't aiming for average. There were moments when she looked like the unstoppable powerhouse everyone expected her to be, but then she would follow those performances with disappointing outings. In her first 10 games of the 2024 season, she scored under 10 points 5 times. That's not the kind of stat line that silences critics. When expectations are sky high and you don't meet them, people start talking, and not in a good way. And that's when the steroid rumors began to surface.
But there's nothing about her game that's really interesting that is going to translate to people who may not watch. Now you have a rivalry here. Angel Reyes wants to be Draymond Green. But there's nothing about her game that's really interesting that is going to translate to people who may not watch the WNBA, may not care about basketball.
ESPN has finally laid out what's next for Angel Reyes after her first season in the WNBA. And honestly, things aren't looking as promising as people might have expected. Or should I say her first tear-filled season? Now, before anyone thinks I'm being too critical, let's get one thing straight. Angel Reyes is undeniably talented. There's no question about her skills on the court, but the ongoing drama, constant complaints, and leaning on the race card really overshadowed what could have been a stronger start. ESPN's analysts have broken down her performance, and their predictions for her future are pretty jaw-dropping. It may not have shocked me, but for those who haven't been paying close attention, it might be eye-opening. Now, let's not pretend Reyes completely bombed her first season, because she didn't. She averaged 11.5 points and 9.2 rebounds per game, which sounds decent at first glance. But here's the thing, those stats don't tell the full story. Sure, she was putting up numbers, but there's a difference between just padding stats and actually making a real impact on the game.
Honestly, I think the biggest thing she should focus on is just finishing around the rim. That is something where maybe her rebounds will be halved. However, she will still make such an impact around the rim if she can.
The real concern with Reyes is her shooting. You know, that whole putting the ball in the hoop part of basketball wasn't exactly her strong suit. She shot 39% from the field, which, for someone who plays close to the basket most of the time, is pretty disappointing, especially when you've got someone like Caitlyn Clark casually hitting shots from miles away with better efficiency. Reyes, on the other hand, was missing key shots. At least she had the chance to grab her own rebounds though, because nothing quite says oops like missing your own shot and then immediately collecting it again, right?
Angel Reyes shot 39% from the field, and she took 90% of her shots from inside 8 feet.
Speaking of rebounds, let's be clear, Reyes can rebound. She led all rookies with 9.2 per game, which sounds impressive until you realize a good chunk of those were off her own missed shots. It's like she was playing fetch with herself. Sure, she's doing something, but is it really making a difference for her team? Critics were quick to highlight that while her double-doubles looked great on paper, they didn't seem to have much of an impact on the game. More like padding her stats thanks to those missed shots. But hey, who's keeping track? Oh, right, ESPN.
The back with 20 rebounds, looking, pursuing. Once again, Reyes with the tip, another chance. Reyes trying to put it back.
And wow, did the analysts have a field day with the whole self-rebounding situation? It turned into this funny basketball meme. Angel Reyes, queen of padding her own stats by cleaning up her own misses. Fans were hyping up her double-doubles, but the experts? They were raising eyebrows and asking, wait, how many of those rebounds were from her own missed shots? It's one of those things that sounds impressive until you take a closer look and see the mess beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Caitlyn Clark is out there casually racking up triple-doubles with so much efficiency, and in comparison, Reyes's numbers start to feel a little empty. Her double-doubles weren't leading the team to victory, and they weren't winning the big games. When the pressure was really on and she needed to step up, she didn't. She struggled in those high-stakes moments, giving critics even more reason to question her future.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Another issue is her ratings and attendance. Angel Reyes, always so confident both on and off the court, didn't just step into the WNBA, she strutted in, practically shouting that she was the reason people were watching. But reality had other ideas, and the numbers? Well, they paint a very different picture. When Reyes was sidelined with a wrist injury, something unexpected happened. Attendance actually went up. Yep, you read that right. Fans were showing up in larger numbers while Reyes was sitting on the bench, which, let's be honest, doesn't exactly scream, people are here for me, now does it?
WNBA has been around a couple of decades, and people didn't notice the game. They're noticing it now. Well, that's because of Caitlyn.
This is bad. This is very bad.
Caitlyn Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlyn to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years.
You know that feeling when your favorite show ends and you're left wondering what to do with yourself? That's exactly how Caitlyn Clark fans felt once basketball season wrapped up. But don't worry, Clark's got a solution so unexpected, it might just work. Let's be honest, without Caitlyn Clark, most basketball games are a bit of a snooze fest, and the off-season, it's brutal. Fans are stuck waiting, hungry for any news about their favorite players. And when it comes to Caitlyn, the rumor mill has been in overdrive. Will she stay in the US? Head to Europe? Take up competitive knitting? Pickleball, maybe? The fake news machine has been cranking out so much nonsense that some outlets have even started throwing around steroid rumors for every WNBA player they can think of.
You say to yourself, damn, what is going on here?
Here's the deal. Clark's got something up her sleeve that no one saw coming. It's not just about staying in the spotlight. It's about changing the game, or maybe even multiple games. We're talking career-defining, fan-shocking, women's sports revolutionizing moves here. And honestly, can you blame her for wanting to shake things up? This decision isn't just about Clark. It's about setting a new standard for athlete influence and expanding appeal across different sports.
Caitlyn, they said on the broadcast tonight that you were not going to play overseas. You're going to take some time. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that decision?
You might think you've got Caitlyn Clark's next move figured out, but get ready to have those assumptions completely shattered. What if I told you her latest plan involves swapping out her basketball sneakers for a pair of golf spikes?
I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do the next day. So maybe play some golf. I think that's what I'm going to do until it gets too cold in Indiana. So I got that. I'll become a professional golfer.
Not too much, babe.
Yeah.
Just wait, keep it basketball.
Clark's shocking announcement has left fans in disbelief after weeks of speculation about her off-season plans. She's made a choice that no one expected. The basketball phenom is now focusing on the golf course, and not just for a casual round here and there. Here's where it gets really interesting. Clark isn't just playing for fun. She's joining the LPGA's Annika Pro-Am event at Pelican Golf Club in Florida. That's right, she'll be teeing off alongside golfing legend Annika Sorenstam. Talk about a power move.
WNBA Rookie of the Year set to compete in a Pro-Am golf event next month. The Indiana Fever superstar will appear at the Annika, which is the next to last tournament on the LPGA Tour from November 11th through the 17th. She will also play in the Pro-Am event on November 13th.
You might be asking where this all came from. Well, it turns out Clark's athletic abilities go beyond just the basketball court. She has a diverse sports background that's been flying under the radar. Remember when she played soccer as a kid? That's where she developed the explosive power behind her jump shot. It's almost as if she's been secretly preparing for this moment all along. But golf? That's a whole different game. Or is it?
I remember getting my first set of golf clubs for one of my birthdays when I was really young. My dad got it for me. It was an all pink bag, all pink clubs, and my dad would always take me when we were younger. I probably started playing golf when I was like 3rd or 4th grade. I mean, I was terrible. I couldn't hit it off the ground.
A viral video of Clark almost scoring a hole-in-one has been making the rounds. And trust me, it's impressive. The way she celebrated after sinking that birdie was pure Clark. That competitive fire we've seen on the court is just as intense on the green. Really excited about this new challenge. In her own words, she said, "I love golf. So the chance to play in the Pro-Am for a tournament with a legend like Annika Sorenstam's name on it is incredibly thrilling. You can practically feel her enthusiasm shining through."
Is this like we're good? We're gonna call it a birdie?
I don't think so. Oh! Yes!
That's huge. Great birdie.
Woo!
Let's be honest, this move isn't just about Clark's passion for golf. It's a strategic play to remain in the spotlight and keep fans engaged during the off-season. While other players are starting podcasts, Clark is out there expanding her brand and pushing her limits. Remember the John Deere Classic Pro-Am? Clark drew massive crowds and received praise from professional golfers for her performance and character. She's not just participating in these events. She's making waves and turning heads. This shift to golf isn't solely about personal growth or staying relevant. Clark isn't satisfied with just being a basketball star. She's aiming to become a sports icon, plain and simple.